All right, welcome to the channel, everyone. So today we've got a little craft video. We are going to take a look at sort of a method for writing microfiction. All right, so I've been writing a lot of microfiction lately. I've just had some ideas that I really like, and I've read some microfiction that I really like too, and that kind of just got me excited about it. So I was like, oh man, I really want to work on some pieces. I really want to actually have a collection going before too long. So we're gonna head over to my computer, and I'm gonna just show you one of the ways I like to start writing microfiction. I know in a previous video I've talked about certain methodologies for how to start. This is going to be a little different. So let's go over to my desktop and see what's going on. I should probably preface this by saying that, this little technique or method that I'm going to show you is really for people who are feeling a little stuck with ideas or are just kind of dealing with some writer's block or just needing a little jump start on something. Now for me, I typically like to get ideas in a kind of very natural way. I like it when ideas just arise at random times during the day. And I think most writers can relate to this. You typically want to have a piece of paper or the notes on your phone available that you can quickly jot down those ideas, and then those ideas hopefully will turn into a story, or they're going to find their way into a story you're already working on. But sometimes it's just not happening. The ideas just are not flowing, but you want to keep working. You want to stay productive. You want to make sure your output is staying consistent. So sometimes, like I said, you gotta jumpstart the ideas. You gotta kind of intervene and find a way to get them to emerge. So this little technique is really basic. I mean, we're going back to kind of the fundamentals here. Basically, you're just going to open up a document, and then you're going to set a timer. I like to do it for 30 minutes. And so I've got the document open, and then there's going to be 3 parts. The first part is going to be stasis. I use stasis just because I kind of like the way it sounds, but basically it can be introduction, or if you want to think in cinematic terms, it's like your establishing shot. After stasis, then we're going to go down and put disruption, and then after disruption we've got so what now. So those are your 3 kind of basic pieces, the building blocks around which you're going to build your little story. And then, like I said, you've got your timer going for 30 minutes. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to start with stasis, and you're going to just come up with something really basic. Again, you're kind of on the spot here. Your clock is ticking, so don't think about it too much. Kind of whatever comes to mind. So just as an example, you could have a man walked out, or actually, how about a man pushed his grocery cart out of the store. So that's just a really basic introductory image. And then we're going to have a disruption. How about this? On the way to his car, he passed a woman unloading her groceries. While she was doing this, she dropped a gallon of milk on the ground, and it spilled everywhere. Man, it's kind of a nightmare situation right there. So there we have our disruption. So basic image, see this all the time. This we don't see. This is when it starts to become a story. Then we have so what now? So what happens next? How can it truly become a story? We're on the road to it being a story here, and then the so what now is when it actually becomes something. And this is probably the most difficult part, but I'm not going to fill this part out now because I don't really know what would go there. But basically, during your 30-minute time slot, you want to put something down there, as quickly as possible. But once you have it, then you're going to spend the rest of your remaining time kind of just filling this out. So you're actually then going to flesh this little bit out. You can give the character a name, you can have something that he's thinking about, some sort of problem, and then you can write this out in a little more detail, and then the so what now as well. And ideally, when you're on the spot like that, when you know the clock is ticking, the way this should work is hopefully ideas are going to flow that you didn't anticipate. It doesn't really matter though what they are, just start writing and keep writing for 30 minutes and see where it goes. So this is sort of the antithesis of the waiting around for an idea to come method, which again, that's my comfortable method. That's what I like, but I like using this when something is just not clicking and I'm just not getting the ideas I want. This sets things in motion. And the cool thing is when it's over, it's only 30 minutes have gone by and you do suddenly have a story. And it may be terrible and you never want to look at it again, or it may be your next piece of fiction that you're going to, submit to publications. I like doing this 3-part structure in this situation because it's an easy way to start. It's an easy way to get it going. If I just sit down and give myself 30 minutes, I might just sit there and stare at the screen and do nothing. But this 3-part structure enables me to immediately begin, and I know that by the time 30 minutes are up, I'll have some material to work with, and you go from there. But let's say you try to do this 2 times a day for a week. That will give you 14 little stories. And then at the end of that week, look at those 14 and see if there's anything you like. If you could maybe take 1 or 2 of those 14 and work with them and turn them into a real fleshed out story, that would be amazing. All right, I thought I'd close here by kind of just giving you an example of what a story can look like with that method. Just a really basic template for writing a story can actually turn into something pretty powerful. This is called Dear Emma by a writer named Hannah Lee Kidder. This is a piece of microfiction, so if you've never read one, this is what it looks like. This is really stripped down. It's 228 words, so super basic, but pause the video and give it a read and you'll see that you can produce something pretty powerful in very, very few words. So give the video a pause, give it a read, and then we're going to take a look at just the parts and see how it kind of does follow that 3-part structure that I showed you earlier, and it seems really kind of basic and rudimentary and kind of boring, but just following that can still produce something pretty powerful. So looking at this, we've got the main character waking up to their lover making tea, and that shriek that a teapot will make when it's ready. That's basically main character's alarm clock. The main character is very frustrated by that, but that's our basic situation. This first paragraph here establishes that. So that's our moment of stasis. It's just kind of giving you a sense of the everyday, the quotidian, and it introduces 2 characters, and the detail here is just beautiful. You see me smile apologetically, offering me a cup of green herbal tea that I never refuse and also never drink. Absolutely like that. And then even better, I pour it down the sink when you leave. Just perfect. Now here we've got tomorrow I'll do it. That's sort of like a pre-disruption. Things are starting to change. We're a little bit like, okay, what does that mean? And then we move to the actual disruption. We find out that the protagonist here is going to leave their lover. I like the way this part here sort of mimics the introductory paragraph, only here it's much less gentle and it's just very much to the point. You can just tell that that's sort of what the character is thinking. The character is sort of losing their patience, and as we learn here, character is going to move on. Emma, this isn't working. I'm so sorry. So that is our disruption. Now that we have a disruption, what now? Well, here we see Kidder has really shocked us with a pretty stunning what now conclusion. Basically, it's a heartbreaking ending, and it's pretty stunning. I was very surprised when I read it, and it definitely moved, and I thought it was just a beautiful piece of writing. And I was like, wow, this follows just this basic structure, and yet a lot is accomplished with it. And I don't mean to say this is how you should write your story. I'm not saying this is the best way to do it. I'm just giving you an example that this is how you can do it. This is how it can look. And that if you just follow this really kind of banal 3-part structure, which again, normally I don't even like the 3-part structure, but if you do kind of follow that, you can still produce something really powerful. For longer pieces, I don't think the 3-part thing is as useful, but when you're writing a really short piece, it actually is a good place to start. All right, so I hope you found that useful. Now, remember, there's no right way to go about doing any of this. So if you didn't like my method here, don't follow it. Do it your own way. Do whatever works for you. But I like writing microfiction with that style, at least of late. It's just been working really well for me. I found my output has been much greater since I kind of started with that method. So wouldn't hurt to give it a try, and maybe it'll work for you. But anyway, that's all I've got for this video. Hope you liked it. Please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time.